Hello, this is Dr. Alan Weidner from Massage Chair Relief, and we welcome you today to our Massage Chair Relief live broadcast and podcast. It looks like we can't get on Twitter today for some reason. It looks like we need a different type of account, but we are on Facebook and we're on YouTube and of course on our website. And we'd like to welcome Dr. Michael Olpin as our guest today. Michael, good to have you here.
Great to be here. Thank you very much, Alan.
It's, we were able to get everything working just right on the hour. So I'm glad to have you here. Let me read the bio to you so people can be a little more familiar with you. Dr. Olpin is an expert in stress management and wellness. He is a professor of health promotion at Weber State University and the founder of the Stress Relief Center. And I've mentioned the Stress Relief Center in some of my broadcasts in the past. At the university, he teaches courses on stress management, mind and body wellness, and with his most recent class focusing on meditation and mindfulness. He's also the author of several influential books, including Stress Management for Life, which is being used as a college textbook at universities across the U.S. and Canada. And his best-selling book, Unwind, 7 Principles for a Stress-Free Life. And Michael has been focused on stress relief since and I don't know, Michael, how far back your emphasis on stress goes. I know you're a PhD, and I know that you run the Stress Relief Clinic, and I know you write books on stress. When did you start with this interest in stress management?
Probably early 90s. I learned how to meditate in 1988 to help with some emotional things, some stress-related things.
And that must have been when you started having kids.
Yeah, it was pretty close. I just got married, just graduated, and didn't have a job, didn't have a career direction, and so I got trained in meditation, and that probably more than anything started me on the path. And then my graduate work, besides a bachelor's degree in psychology, my graduate work was really leaning toward wellness and stress management.
Well, now you've written a number of books. What were the key takeaways from your books? What are the main insights of those books?
Well, the thing that I have realized in being in this field for as long as I have is most of the people who try to deal with stress do one of two things. They focus on either the prevention of stress or the reduction of stress. And it occurred to me, and my classes and the books really focus on both of those. You have to have the ability to turn off stress. People who are in chronic stress, really bad things happen health-wise. But there also is a preventive side, which very few people really focus on. Our stress, most people have the belief that stress happens to us, right? That things happen and by their nature, we become stressed. But if that were the case, then everybody who went public speaking would be stressed by public speaking. But there's some people who don't get stressed by public speaking. And I say public speaking because that's always the number one most feared thing in the world, or at least in the United States. There's some people who don't get stressed when they public speak, which tells me it's got to be something going on here rather than the event itself or the circumstances. And so it has to do with our thinking. And if we can adjust and figure out how to prevent that stressful thought before it turns into a stress state, the fight or flight response, then we win on that side. But we also need to have the ability to turn it off when we forget about that part.
Well, the thing I like about your approach to stress isn't simply, hey, this is a way to, here's some music to listen to on an app to help you relax to go to bed. like your approach to stress is very comprehensive. Avoiding stress, managing stress, it's a very comprehensive approach. Now, you have this stress relief center at Weber State. Um, and how has that, well, maybe how was that born and how has that helped you with regards to your approach to stress? Like, has it changed your,
Yeah.
by having this center, has it changed your view of stress? Has it changed your approach to stress?
It's a good question. We started it here at Weber State. I was asked when we rebuilt our building if the chair of our department asked me if I wanted to have anything, because he knew of my interest in stress. And I thought, I'd like to have a place where people can come and relax. There's not very many of those around the country, but there were 2 or 3 at the time. And I said, I'd like to have a place like that where people can come and just for 20 minutes, a half hour, 10 minutes, just unwind. And that was about 2007. And so through the years, we've just been adding and subtracting different things that we thought might help for stress reduction, turning off stress.
Right.
Certainly not. It has a feeling like, okay, it might just work for a little bit of time. Somebody goes in and sits in a massage chair for 20 minutes. And then, yeah, there's a definite reduction in stress. We've measured those things, but it may not be permanent. But my thinking is, and we've played with a lot of different tools and some have worked, some worked really well, others not so much. But we found that when we do participate in, say, sitting in a massage chair or sitting in a really comfy chair and listening to a guided relaxation, we found that measurably people reduce their resting heart rate. They do reduce their blood pressure. They do reduce perceived levels of pain and stress. And what that told me, and then when people would continually come back, that told me that the more we can anchor ourselves in relaxation, the more that becomes our normal, as opposed to a chronically stressed state. So it's kind of like weightlifting or sleeping. You can't just do it once and call it good. You have to eat tomorrow and you have to eat the next day and you have to eat the next day, or you have to work out daily. In my thinking, similarly, you need to immerse yourself in something that is really relaxing over and over and over, so that your body returns to that normal state of not fight or flight. We call it parasympathetic nervous system activity, as opposed to chronically being in a stressed state. That was probably, for what we do in there, the most interesting thing that I've kind of gleaned through the years, that you got to do it over and over again. And that seems obvious, but people kind of think, okay, I'm just stressed and nothing I can do about it. Well, there really is.
And it's not a silver bullet. I mean, you just, like you say, you can't sit in a chair once or listen to some calming music once. It's
right.
I don't know. And of course, everybody experiences stress to some degree. How they manifest it is different. Like I'm a more, I don't know what the term is. I'm a little bit more hyper about things that really upset me. And, it affects my sleep. Sometimes it affects my mood. And then there's others, like I'm looking at you, you're just such a laid back guy. You and I are at opposite ends of the spectrum, but we both, as you mentioned earlier, we both need some stress relief at times. Yeah. And your work is very mindful of that for everybody. one of the things that impressed me when I first met you was you had mentioned that you had, and this is what I like about what you did, because you're a PhD, research is in your blood and in your education, but you would measure those metrics, the pain, stress, blood pressure, and heart rate. You did that just because that's what you do as a researcher.
Yeah.
And when you told me, I think you told me at the time you had like 4,000 people that had been through your stress clinic, and you had measured these things. And I was so impressed with that, that you had done that, just because I don't even know what your end game was at the time, but it turns out that it was brilliant, a brilliant, proactive measure to deal with stress, or at least to understand more about stress. Has it changed over the years? Has that changed the way that you run things at the stress clinic, or modalities that you now use or don't use that you used to use? Has it changed that at all, or do you still continue to add therapies and just have them all available?
Yeah, there's a lot of answers to that question. We have, so initially I thought, well, we did a study initially that wasn't associated with the Stress Relief Center, where we took people's saliva and we took people's blood, and you can measure stress levels by the cortisol present in their blood. And I didn't, and so what we did was we would have somebody, we'd have them spit and take their blood, spit in a vial, take their blood, measure, and then we'd have them do a relaxation exercise, a guided relaxation, one that I created. This one was called autogenics, I believe. And they would sit for 20 minutes listening to this guided relaxation, or the control group was, they would just read for 20 minutes. But they would do the pre-assessment, and then we'd assess them afterwards, right? For blood cortisol and spit, salivary cortisol levels. And we found that there was a significant difference between those groups. And I thought, as we started this was before or just as we were getting the Stress Relief Center open. And I thought, we should be measuring people, and it's too cumbersome to do blood tests for everyone who comes in. And it's too cumbersome to have them spit in a vial. But there are measures that you can test, and one of those is resting heart rate. There is a correlation between resting heart rate and stress levels. It's not one-to-one, but it's pretty, it's strong. And similarly, blood pressure. There's monster research that shows when people meditate, blood pressure comes down, blood pressure levels come down. And so I thought, we need to measure these things to see if what we're doing works. I mean, that just makes sense for anybody. You got to measure. If you're not measuring, then you can't really tell. And so we started measuring, and there were some things that we were doing that really didn't make a difference. Like, for example, there was the inversion table, the one where you hang upside down by your legs, by your feet. Mm-hmm. Great machine. Love it. And it didn't affect their stress levels any. There was no effect on decreasing any of those 4 parameters. And so as interesting, as fun as that was to have that in there, we kind of, because of lack of space, we replaced that with another massage chair. And there have been a few things that we've had that just didn't quite measure up, so to speak, that we said, okay. And the things that we have tested that do work, we've gotten more of those. And like you're well aware, because you're the source of our purchase, the massage chairs by far have been the most popular tools that we have in our Stress Relief Center. And they are also very effective. As according to the data, it's just, when each time we've analyzed the data, it's just incredibly strong, so statistically significant, that the massage chairs work to reduce stress by those 4 measures. And we've had now probably over 8,000 people. Not all of them were in massage chairs, but probably 60 to 70% of the people who we measured, that's what they use, is the massage chairs.
Do you, and this is probably a rhetorical question, but do massage chairs help mental health simply because they reduce stress levels, or do they help mental health at all?
Well, in my holistic view of stress, anything you can do to reduce fight or flight, top to bottom, head to toe, helps. So if you're talking about mental health, if you're just saying, okay, so when somebody's in fight or flight response, mental health goes crazy. They're in, they just want to bolt out of there or beat the tar out of somebody. And so when you reduce stress levels, the mind naturally calms itself. It goes back to, a rest and repair mode. And so along with, everything else, the immune system rebalances. I mean, every system in the body returns back to normal when you are in a relaxed state, including the hormones, the mental chemistry that is either balanced or not. It puts it back in balance when you're relaxed. So I would say 100% it helps for mental and emotional well-being.
And I suspect if someone's in pain, they may not even realize that they're under a tremendous amount of stress, or maybe their mental health is compromised. But I know that when I feel better, somatically, physiologically, I feel better stress-wise as well. And of course, chairs do relieve pain, and that's another side of it. Stress is a huge thing, and you and I have talked about this before. A survey we did with patients or with customers found that people, the vast majority of people that get a massage chair either get them for stress relief and relaxation, or back pain, and they help both things. And so pain's a big component of stress, I think.
Well, if you think about, when you lift weights, say you're lifting, you're doing curls, right? After that, if you have too much weight or you do too many reps, pretty soon the pain is going to give you feedback saying, yep, too much. And when a muscle is in a constantly contracting state, it's like that. And the feedback that it gives your body is pain. That's the feedback saying, I'm in a tense state. I shouldn't be, so I'm going to let you know by having pain. And that's why massage chairs work so well, is because they work those muscles that are in a contracting state to relax them. And the side effect is no pain. The pain just goes away. The effect is, the cause is the muscle has been able to relax, go back to how it's normally. And the result is, the side effect is disappearance of that pain, that signal.
Right. Yeah. You had, I had mentioned in the beginning that, stress management is not just listening to a CD or an app with some soothing music, or someone telling a story in a soft voice. What are some other misconceptions of, misconceptions of what's, misconceptions that correlate stress with wellness or health, or just management of stress?
Well, one of the obvious ones is that stress can't be managed. And there's a lot of people who just think, I've tried so many things, which they haven't really tried the right things, but they've tried things and nothing seems to work. As an example, so I'll give you one example. One of the things that I created a set of these guided relaxation exercises. And we made one set of about 15, or so, I forgot how many there were, that were for just daytime recharging. And then we made another set that is for nighttime falling asleep. And everybody in my stress management class uses, and I have about 130 people in the class per semester. It's an online class, so I get a lot of students. And just about every single one, with very few exceptions, by the end of the semester, so they're forced to use these guided relaxation exercises. By the end of the semester, we've fixed just about every sleeping problem. People,
Really?
yeah, they stop having, it stops taking them, it doesn't take an hour and a half to fall asleep. I mean, when they listen to it, and yeah, it is nice music and somebody nice, with a nice voice talking to them, my voice. But the thing is, what they learn is how to not think about all the things that were keeping them awake.
Yeah.
Right? When somebody is thinking about all the things they have to do tomorrow and all the things they did or didn't do today, their body's getting the message from their mind, I should be doing something, not lying here falling asleep. And so what we do is we reset that signal that goes from the mind to the body of something that's happening here and now, whether it's in my imagination or just focusing on my body, that is not thinking about doing stuff tomorrow or what I did or didn't do today. And the body in that state knows, okay, when I'm lying down and I'm here and now, oh, it must be time to sleep, because that's what I did when I was 3.
Yeah.
When I fell asleep. So that's one major misconception, is you can do something about it. And I've worked with, I don't know, we were doing the math. I think we worked with over 10,000 people through the years. And over and over again, people will say, when I do what you tell me to do, I feel a lot better, and things changed that I didn't think could change. And that's one thing. And another thing that really is quite contrary to what most people believe is that you can prevent stress. People say, oh no, everything's stressful and there's nothing I can do about it. But even being in situations that are seemingly stressful, you still have a choice in the matter. And it's just a matter of building up that muscle of, how do I think in this situation that doesn't sound like I'm telling my body there's a bear right there, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So that's a couple things that come to mind.
I've struggled, especially as I've gotten older, and as sometimes youth and being young is helpful maybe in preventing stress, because we don't realize we're going through stress, or we don't care about certain things as much as we do when we get older.
Yeah.
But now I worry about, before I worried about kids. Now I worry about grandkids.
Yes.
And I worry about my business, when things are slow. I worry about, relationships I have, if I've upset someone or whatever. And I genuinely struggle. Like, one of the worst things is, and at my age, of course, I'm going to get up and go pee at about 5 or 6 in the morning.
Right.
And then while I'm going to the bathroom, I'm thinking to myself, oh, please let me go back to sleep. Please let me go back to sleep when I go back to bed. And then sometimes the mind just gets going, and I can't stop it. Or I don't say, I shouldn't say I can't stop it. I don't have the tools to stop it.
Yeah.
And it's so frustrating. And I just want to be in bed. I just want to be here and sleep. But I can't even enjoy that because I'm so stressed out. But obviously you've tapped into a lot of things that can help people deal with that. Obviously, if you have 100, what was your percentage of success rate? Was it 100% with that 130 student class?
For sleep, yeah. And I've had a couple, usually about 2 or 3 will say, yeah, nothing really hit the mark for me of the 15 or so that I tried, but it's very rare. I mean, almost everyone will say, because I ask them at the end, how do things change with your sleep? So they tell me right out, unless they're lying to me, but there's so many people who say the same thing. Yeah, it fixes it. Yeah, I mean, so it's interesting as you're talking, you know, there are tools, there are things that you can do. You know, we have a part of the whole prevention focus is this concept of being mindful. And people, when they hear that, they go, oh yeah, that's just more meditation stuff. But really, mindfulness is just, so here's the idea. Your mind can only consciously focus on one thing at a time. That's, you can have a lot of peripheral thoughts, but you can only dial in directly to one thing at a time. So whatever you're thinking about, your body is listening, saying, okay, is there a bear in that sentence that you're saying, you know, your self-talk? And so with mindfulness, what we do is we teach people that here and now, one is safe. There's no bear in our current environment. We don't have any bears now. I mean, really, we don't have, we might think that things feel like bears, but there really aren't any bears in our current environment. We have a pretty safe, comfortable environment that we've set up for ourselves. And 2, if here and now is a safe place and I focus on something that is here and now, then my body will go, oh, okay, I don't have to turn on the stress response. And the mind goes, if I'm only thinking about something that is safe, then I will settle down as well. And so one of the things, and this, we spend like half a semester in 2 different classes on this idea. It's so powerful. But just to give you a taste, one of the things that we know about you and me is our senses are always in the present. Our senses can never sense something future and past, right? And so if we want to put ourselves here and now instead of thinking of future and past, then we focus on something that we can directly experience with our senses. What am I seeing right now? What am I hearing right now? What am I tasting right now? What am I feeling, you know, with tactily right now? And so when people are lying in bed, if their thought is over and over, I feel my head against this pillow. I feel my head against this pillow. This feels so soft. And I stay on that thought, which is a muscle. I mean, because it so quickly we want to go to everything.
Yeah.
But if our thought is continually on, and this is just one of dozens and dozens of different ways, if our mind is constantly on, my head feels good against this pillow, or my body feels heavy in the bed, you know, kind of thing. And we just keep saying that over and over, your body will go, oh, well, when I've been trained since I was 0, that when my head's against the pillow, then it must be time to sleep. And so that thought, if we keep that thought in the front of our thinking, the body will do what it naturally should do. And if you can't fall asleep when you're doing that, if sleep doesn't come, then your body's saying, nope, it's time to get up. You've had enough sleep.
Yeah. Do you think, I know a lot of people do affirmations, you know, and I think those affirmations are designed and implemented to help us achieve certain things in our life, certain goals or certain whatever end goals. But can that also serve a purpose in that way? You know, can just by repeating a saying or repeating a quote or repeating something, that I assume that could do the same thing, right?
Yeah, that leads to a long conversation about how the conscious and the subconscious mind work together. The idea is the conscious mind is the director and the subconscious mind is the engine. And the engine will do whatever the director tells it. It doesn't matter. It doesn't question the let's say a direct or the what do you call the person driving a ship? The
captain.
captain of the ship. Yeah. And so the captain just says, okay, we have to turn left because there's an iceberg there. The subconscious mind just goes, the subconscious mind's job is to do whatever it is told, as long as that which it is told is consciously believed. And so we consciously say to ourselves, like I have this just as an example, because I've been using affirmations for, I don't know, 40 years. And I have one affirmation just as an example that says, I'm the healthiest person I know. And I say that over and over. It doesn't matter if it's true or not, because there's probably lots of people more healthy than me. But I say that affirmation in a convincing way to myself. I'm the healthiest person I know. It just hit me one day. That's one that I really resonated with, because I realized if I don't have my health, nothing else matters. So that's kind of important. So I would say that, and I just every day, at night before I fall asleep or in the morning when I wake up, I just quickly glance at and that's one of them. And the thing that I have found is, and maybe I'm just an anomaly, but I haven't been sick in 15 years once where I couldn't function. I get the occasional sniffles, but I've never, even through COVID, and I was around people with COVID all the time. I never got COVID. I never got it. I never catch the cold. I never get the flu. I never do flu shots. I don't know if I should say that or not, but, and I keep continuing to be healthy. Now, you could say, well, that's a nice coincidence, but I don't think so. I just decided that's something that is important to me 30 years ago. And I just use that as an affirmation amongst the several that I use every day. And if I say it with conviction, subconscious mind just keeps bringing that reality into my physiology.
Huh. Well, yeah, I wonder if I don't know. I wonder if these affirmations can create a health. If it creates. Well, I don't know. I think the power of our words and the power of our thoughts is on full display with those things.
Mm-hmm.
And you heard that saying: if you say you can and you say you can't, you're right.
Either way.
And
No.
and I do, yeah, and I do believe that, but I don't think I implement it in my life like I should, except when things are going tough. When things are going tough, that I start thinking about little phrases or affirmations that I need to use. But
Yeah.
by then it's too late. I'm already stressed out, and I'm dealing with a problem that is keeping me awake at night.
Yeah.
Point, it might be a little bit too late for that to happen, but I
I think
wonder.
you can, for example, like if you can, like in any situation, like say you're getting ready to speak in front of a group of people. And I use that over and over just because it's the most stressful thing apparently for people, according to surveys. And if your self-talk, if your affirmation is, I can handle this, even if you're really nervous, if you're saying to yourself, I can handle this versus I can't handle this, your body's going to hear either one and it will respond. If it's I can handle this, then the physiology for handling something stays in rest and repair. If the affirmation is I can't handle this, I can't, and you hear people say I can't do this and I can't do that, and they kind of talk themselves into not being able to do that. It's the whole subconscious mind is the engine that follows whatever it's being told. thing.
Yeah.
And so when we say, I can't handle, I'm speaking in front of people and I'm nervous, right? And the subconscious mind goes, you asked for it. I'll make nervous. And so I think it can be done preventatively as well as reducing I don't know if that's a word either, but you can use it to prevent a problem or to get yourself out of the problematic emotional state.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I remember my wife. We went on a little trip to I think it was Spokane, over Coeur d'Alene over there, and they were all determined to do a zip line thing. And I'm scared to death of zip lines, scared to death of it. And so we got this zip line program. There was 11 zip lines on this trip, and part of the same on this course.
Successive zip lines.
Yeah. And I was just nervous. And my wife kept saying, "Oh, you can do this. You can do that. You can do this." And I remember telling myself, I can do this. I can do this. I can do this. Well, I screamed and it was horrible. All 11. It didn't get easier. It was horrible. I couldn't wait for it to be done. And I remember my wife asking me on every other station, "Well, is it easier for you?" "No, it's worse now. It's worse." And it's like my mind went into a frenzy trying to talk myself into believing that I could handle this, but the stress was so immense that even my body didn't believe me. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. Yeah.
Didn't even believe me, but it was horrible. But I could have used a massage chair every one of those platforms. But
Right.
Anyways, I just want to get back to the massage chair thing.
Mm-hmm.
You and I've mentioned this in my broadcasts before, my biweekly massage chair industry update, that you are the only published author of massage chair studies, and I'd like to talk a little bit about that because
Sure.
I think it's pretty cool. Like our industry is fairly infantile,
Mm-hmm.
and the fact that massage chairs have been around since the '60s. And yours is the first study that I'm aware of that I've been able to locate, and you as well, regarding massage chair benefits, therapeutic benefits for the human being. And I find it fascinating that we do have this study now, and we're finally starting to validate our claims, these decades of claims of what massage chairs can do, like pain relief and stress relief. But could you you kind of glanced on it or touched on a little bit earlier on when you talked about the metrics, when you were the pre and post therapy metrics, like the heart rate and that. But could you talk a little bit about the study,
Sure.
and then maybe a little bit about your impressions? And I think we've kind of already touched on some, but I want to just focus on the studies.
Sure. So the method is, I mean, if you're looking at, how a article is set up, you do a lit review, and you were right. We found 0 studies. We confirmed what you were thinking. There were 0 studies on massage chairs, plenty on massage. And so we set it up so that the method was somebody comes in and we immediately, or when they're ready, I guess, we assess them for stress levels, pain levels on a scale from 1 to 10, and then resting heart rate and resting blood pressure. And then they would do whatever it is they do. And like I said, 80-90% of the people at some point in their visit with the stress relief center would spend time in a massage chair. And then after they're done doing whatever it is they do, and it usually, the average time, we measured how long, of the several thousand, I'm trying to remember, we actually had 2 published articles, and one we used was one population, the other was a bigger population. Both were like either 3,500 or 8,000. I mean, it was a lot of people.
Yeah. Unbelievable.
And um, when they were done, we'd assess them again with those same 4: heart rate, blood pressure, pain, and our perceived pain and perceived stress levels. And when we kept track of the data, we had this big long spreadsheet, and we sent it into the statistician on campus who helped us with the study. And this person said, if this were, they were just astounded by the results. Her comment to us was, if this modality that you use to reduce stress were a pill, it would be the best-selling, most popular drug available that there is, because of how powerful it is. And so we did get it the results showed that, and it didn't matter male or female, it didn't matter age, it didn't matter. We have several different massage chairs, and we didn't really, there was one set of massage chairs that we kind of singled out because they volunteered their chairs to be part of the study, the Larocos. But when people were done, the massage chairs themselves stood out for how much they were used to be the strongest of the modalities that we have.
Yeah.
And which is why we have never, we keep replacing and adding more of those and getting rid of others. And one of the reasons why I really like the concept of a massage chair is you don't have to do anything. With meditation, it's kind of a work. It's kind of, or trying to focus on being mindful. It's okay, I've got to focus. But with a massage chair, you just sit there and let the chair do its work. And that's a nice bonus. But it was really, it's been well received. It's kind of cool to have evidence for something that we all intuitively know, but to see the results in measurable. And there's some people say, well, you didn't have a control group. And that is true. We didn't have a control. We didn't have somebody sitting side by side, the person getting a massage chair, and then test them pre and post. But the numbers were so astronomically big that it kind of covers for that.
Yeah.
In a statistically safe sort of way.
Now, I know that study was primarily on students at the university, but was it also on older staff members or other teachers or whatever? And was there any difference? And I don't know if you measured it that specifically, but was there any difference in the physiological benefits to when I say elderly, I mean older adults versus student adults?
Yeah, good question. I don't remember the percentages, but we did have a fairly high, not in comparison to not as high nearly as the students, but we have students, faculty, staff, and community members all were welcome. If they can get into our building, then they're welcome to come into our place. And so, and I would say probably, and so the faculty and staff and community members would all be, 25 and up probably.
Yeah.
The average age at Weber State, interestingly, is 26. So it's older by its nature. And we did look at different age groups, found no difference whatsoever. It was the same effect. And because actually we don't have on our, I have to go back and correct that. We do not ask the person's age on the survey, but we do ask if they're faculty, staff, and we did compare those to students, and there wasn't any difference.
Yeah.
one way or the other.
Well, that's a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we've got a question from Chris. He says, what massage chairs do you have in your facility, the brands, and which one, if there is one, is used the most and liked the most? That's kind of a tough question to ask or answer because the chairs are older, and I know you have some chairs that they're not even in. They've been discontinued, I believe. But what do you remember the brands?
So
Laraco obviously is one.
we have two of the Laracos. We have the last one that you sent me. What was that? Do you remember what that one was? It was the one that is a little bit smaller than the Laracos. I don't remember what it was.
That's okay.
And then we bought two of those that have the L track, and I
Yeah.
don't remember the name, the brand for those either. And those, besides those five, we just have two others that are older.
Yeah.
And I apologize. I don't
Well,
know.
that's a tough question to answer. I mean, there's people that have bought chairs, just one in their home, and they can't even remember what model it is. So
Yeah.
that I get that. That's okay. But I do know that you had the Laracos, and they were the old ones that didn't have the L track. They were what we call the iRobotics 7.
Right.
And that didn't have the L track. So they have Laraco has new chairs now that have L tracks. But anyways, I know that you had various brands. I think at some point you had an Osaki chair. I think you even had a Human Touch chair. I can't remember exactly, but an Infinity chair, I think as well. But
yeah, the most popular ones was the forever the Laracos was the most popular, and I think we did replace. We got an i9, which I think has the L track.
Yeah, that does have the L track.
And then I don't remember the newest one that we bought from you besides the Laracos. That's the other favorite. It's got, maybe you know it. It's got a program in there called Royal Treatment.
Oh, that's I think that's the Daiwa chair.
Yeah, that one's
Daiwa hybrid. That's an L track. Yeah.
That one is very popular. Interestingly, one of the staff, I told her about it, and now she tells everybody about that particular chair, and they always come in this. All right, I'm here for the Royal Treatment.
Well, yeah, I think that's a Daiwa model, and I think that one and the Laraco 9 are both split tracks, and that is kind of the latest greatest technology in massage chairs. So you do have. I didn't realize the chairs you have were, but I don't know.
I just get the ones you recommend for me.
Yeah,
whatever you say.
And I can't even remember which ones I recommend, for heaven's sakes. Yes, Chris, the i9 is a split track, as is the Daiwa Supreme Hybrid. Those are both split track chairs. So yeah, they're good chairs. You got some good chairs in there, Mike. But anyways, the chairs. The reason I asked about the age is because typically older folks, present company included, we have more problems with pain, right? I mean, we've got arthritis and we've got back pain and headaches, and most of the younger kids don't have all that stuff because they haven't abused their bodies as long as we have.
Right.
And so I was wondering if the pain levels were less, or if they served more on the elderly, or when I say elderly, I don't.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
We envision this 80-year-old person who can barely get in a chair, but an older adult versus a younger adult. And I know you probably didn't measure that stuff because that's a whole different study, I suspect. But yeah, I was curious to know if there was any kind of I don't know.
We didn't account for age, but we did. And I don't think we looked at, we just looked at the differences. We didn't look at difference differences pre and post. We didn't look at differences between groups.
Yeah.
So we really didn't. We could pull that out pretty easily. That's a great. It never occurred to me that we should compare those groups to see if they were different at the beginning or at the end.
Yeah.
Well,
you were doing it. You were measuring the perceived pain, but and I'm sure there's probably some way to. Well, if you're not taking the age, I guess it's hard to sequester the older versus the younger. I don't know, but anyways, every time we talk, it seems like there's another idea for another study.
Yes.
Like that cortisol thing really interests me because perceived pain and perceived stress is exactly that. It's perceived. It's subjective. To be able to measure cortisol or any other hormone or chemical of the body, which is unrelated to an awareness, like I'm not going to come and say, you know what, my cortisol, I believe, is quite high or quite low. But it would be neat to measure that. I think that would be a fantastic study. And you know what? As a matter of fact, Michael, you're in the perfect position to continue to do studies for massage chairs because you have, first of all, you have the setting. You have a research lab in your stress relief center. You have already some context with massage chairs and what you've done so far, and this industry is sorely lacking in objective studies. And I think it'd be cool if you could do something that measures these things less subjectively. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I agree. It would add to the validity a lot by taking any subjectivity out of it. It's just tricky to get that passed through IRB.
What is IRB?
That's the internal review board. They're the ones who say this study's okay to do or not.
Oh, okay.
On campus, they say, no, that's infringing on somebody's rights, or that's infringing on somebody's well-being somehow, and it might emotionally scar them. So they say you can't do that. And it's subject to it. We managed to make it so that this was as harmless as possible, while still trying to get some good data.
Well, I guess you are limited, and I suppose any research facility is limited by some, principles or rules and regulations. But there's probably some other things that you could do that would be pretty cool, and that would also continue to validate the massage chair industry, because most of these stories are anecdotal, right? I mean, oh yeah, I had terrible back pain or sciatica or headaches, and the chair got rid of it. Well, are you an anomaly? Are you the only person that's ever had that happen to you, or is that a statistic? Would a research project prove that statistically significant to have, that sort of response, somatic response? So I think it's a pretty wide open field, but I know you're a pretty busy guy, and maybe you don't have time for all that stuff. But reminds me.
What we might do is, I've had 2 students who have done their master's thesis using the Stress Relief Center data. And so down the road, that might be another avenue to play with. I'll keep that in mind, because I get to be on people's master's degree committees. We don't have any PhDs in our school, but that might be something. That's an interesting idea.
Well, you could use our showroom. I mean, we got no rules there. You can do whatever you bloody well please.
That's a good idea too.
just don't break the windows and don't take the chairs with you when you're done. I wanted to just mention one other thing. We have integrated a program in our business where we provide access to your software, your Relax software. So people can use that as a way to manage stress while they're in their massage chair. And could you maybe just talk a little bit about that and what that entails?
Well,
if this is the place for that.
Yeah, no, the relaxation exercises we know work. And I mean, there's, having so many thousands and thousands of people use them successfully, we know that the relaxation exercises work to reduce stress. The thinking is you stack them. You stack the more things you can do simultaneously to turn off the stress response, the better off you are, I think. And so if you can, it's kind of like lifting weights and doing a high intensity interval training at the same time, you get the best of two different worlds. I think that's the same way with adding the relaxation exercises to something that is also extremely relaxing. You get kind of a double dose of real parasympathetic activity, real stress reduction.
Yeah. Well, Robert just posted I don't know if everybody can see that. Can everybody see the comments or whatever?
I can't see.
I don't know if people can read that, but I'm not exactly sure how to show that. But your course is mcr.relaxcourse.com. That's the link that my customers use to access that software. But we actually provide that with the first year subscription for that software, and we provide that to a select group of customers who purchase shares from us. So, anyways, stress reduction is a big deal for us, and so obviously your whole career has been revolves around it, and we feel that there's a lot more that can be done. But just before we close, I just want to mention there's one, and I don't know if this is a joke or not, but they said, how about a study of great Tibetan meditation masters in massage chairs?
That's really stacking it.
That's really stacking it, man. It'd be like, it would, I don't know. I think that would be a hoot. That'd be hilarious.
That would be
But
fun.
I assume that going to be that I don't know if that was a serious one or if that's a joke, but anyways, that same customer mentioned that he has a chair and he needs to repair it. So just reach out to me, go to our contact us form on our website, and we can, we've got our lifetime labor warranty. We can certainly help you get that chair fixed. And he's serious. He says, I'm serious.
It would be cool to have in your showroom a bunch of Tibetan monks, in their garb, in the massage chairs. I think that's a great visual.
Well, but we got to find the Tibetan meditation masters.
Yeah, that's true.
We got to find them. And I don't know if we've got them here in Utah. We might have to find them somewhere else. But it's there. I mean, we're kind of giggling about it, but there are probably endless studies that could be done with massage chairs, endless. And and someone needs to tap into that. So maybe work with your master students. Maybe maybe they can start getting some stuff going. Anyways, he says they see the link. They can see the link. Anyways, if you want, anyways, just reach out to me about fixing your chair and we'll get you set up. So we'll take good care of you. Well, Michael, any closing comments? I mean, I don't know where you're headed with all of your stress relief research and your stress relief center and your studies and your classes, but it seems like you're leaving somewhat of a legacy in this particular topic. What is your end game?
Well, we've been working pretty hard the last couple of years trying to develop kind of a stress management program off campus, so for everybody else in the world. And my website has access to, I videotaped all of my classes, and we've developed audio, video, workbooks. I mean, a whole slew of different things that have come from my classroom work. I teach the 2 classes. I teach 3 different classes, and we've kind of combined them into. And one of the things that's really cool is we've created what we call the course is called Release, and it's been approved for nurses as continuing education credit for up to 15 credit hours.
Wow.
And we have a non-nurses version that's for everybody else, and it's just a foundational course that is the combination of stress reduction, stress prevention, mindfulness. It really is understanding how stress really works. We're working really hard to make it so that what we do in the classroom is available for everybody else. And so my website, stressmanagementplace.com, is kind of the central place for all of that content. At least it's the starting place for it.
And you've got so much content. I've kind of been privy to some of it, and it's just copious amounts of courses and of course books and texts and online resources. It's quite impressive, man. You've done quite a great work. It's unbelievable, actually.
Well, I'm an old guy, so I've been around a long time.
Yeah, but you're you're healthier than me, that's for sure. You are the healthiest guy you know.
That I know, yeah. I know 5 people, so.
Well, it's been wonderful visiting with you, and I appreciate our friendship through the years and how all this has kind of morphed into what we're doing today. But thank you for your insights, for the work you're doing, and for our industry. I don't know if people in our industry appreciate the fact that you have done this for us. And our focus for most of us is sell, sell, sell.
Yeah.
And now you're backing up what we're selling with hard data. And I find that to be extremely refreshing. And it's refreshing because you're legitimizing massage chairs as a therapy. That's what you're doing with your research studies. So we appreciate that very, very much. And hopefully that'll you'll become a little bit more recognized with this particular industry of ours. But
well, it's a fun field to be in, because nothing makes me happier, and you probably feel the same way. Nothing makes me happier than to have somebody feel a lot better.
Yeah.
And if I can do that in whatever way, and massage chairs are just one of those best ways that I know of for making somebody feel better. Because right now, a lot of people don't feel very good.
Yeah.
And we need
to
help them out.
Well, and so massage chairs used to be bought. When I first got in this business 20 years ago, massage chairs were used for pain relief. We did not have people coming in looking for stress relief, but it has morphed into that. And as I mentioned at the beginning, our customer surveys show that people are buying chairs for the purpose of pain and or for stress relief and relaxation, every bit as much as they are for pain relief. So it is certainly changed. Things are changing.
Yeah.
And I guess we can blame that on social media. I don't know who you blame that on, but somebody. But anyways, thank you so much, Dr. Olpin. I appreciate you being here. It's wonderful. Oh, and Chris just asked, can he give you a link to the study? Chris, if you go to my website and go to the blog and type in Olpin, it'll bring up my summary of his studies. And I basically encapsulated the essence of the studies and what they do. And that'll give you that also gives you a link to the actual studies themselves. So just type in Olpin, Olpin, and that'll bring up my article on it. But thanks, Michael. Look forward to seeing you again sometime.
My pleasure.
I'm sure we'll be talking again soon, but thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much, Alan. Great to see you.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye now.